fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at my last three figures from the Ultra Action figure line from Bandai. I decided to bundle these three together because they're kind of like deluxe sets that come with a bunch of extra accessories. So over here we have Zoffy, which comes with his mantle. Then we have the Ultraman Zero Ultra Zero Mantle set, which seems a little redundant. And then we have the Ultimate Shining Zero set. So two versions of Zero here and Zoffy. Two mantles. This one comes with kind of that armor that he puts on, which I think looks pretty cool, and I'm kind of excited for this one. So, just taking a look at the packaging real quick here. For the Ultimate Shining Zero set, we have this bubble-on card, and of course it has the usual 18 points of articulation, but then it has all of his snap-on armor and everything. Zoffy, I believe, is pretty much just a normal figure. He just comes with the mantle. I don't think he has any other extra accessories or not. And then we have the what is this? The Ultra Zero Mantle set. So you get Zero, you get the mantle, and then you get a couple of his accessories there, which I think is pretty cool. Showing off all the different things you can do, the usual 18 points of articulation, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead, get all of these out of the packaging. Zoffy's very eager. Going to go ahead and get them out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. So here are the three figures out of the packaging. I guess we'll start over here on the left with Zoffy, just because he's kind of the least interesting in terms of accessories and things like that. The mantle's cool, but it doesn't really fit great on the figure. So to get kind of a normal look to it, where I kind of just want it like over the shoulders and hanging straight down, it kind of like clips on, but then the collar is way back here. And if you try to push this forward so that the collar kind of makes sense, then it juts out at this like 45-degree angle. So I don't really know what that's about. I don't know why they made them like this. The other thing is trying to clip them around the neck forces the head into some weird poses. Now, the packaging makes it seem like this will fit on any Ultra figure, and I think that's probably true. I have Jack here just to test out this theory. So this should just clip on. Yeah, this will just clip on to whoever. But like I said, it's because like the way the back is, and they all have that kind of seam down the back that they didn't account for. Like if they would have just cut a small slit here, you can even kind of see where there's a crease, a natural crease there. And if they would have just kind of made a small indent there so that that could have, you know, recessed into that a little bit, I feel like this could have worked a little better. But it's just, I don't know, it's kind of weird the way they made it, where like you kind of want it to sit, but I mean, maybe it's supposed to have a high collar in the back. I don't know. But it can attach to any of the figures, which is nice. I do appreciate that. And if you're just kind of looking at it from head on, it looks okay. It's just when you look at it from the side and the collar is like way out there, it just kind of looks weird. So it works. I just think it could be more successful if they had just, you know, done a little bit more with making it lay more naturally on the figure, but it works. As far as the Zoffy figure itself, pretty much your standard Ultra Action figure. You have the ball joint in the head so you can look up, can look down, side to side, tilt side to side ever so slightly. You have the hinge and the rotation in the shoulder. You have the bicep swivel. I would say maybe slightly more than 90 in the elbows. Wrist rotation, and then there's two sets of fingers that they all have. Nothing in the waist. Hips can kick pretty decently forward, decently out to the side. Can't really go back because of the butt flap. No thigh swivel. I would say over 90 degrees, maybe 120 in the knee there. And then you have a ball joint in the ankle. So basically what every Ultra Action figure has in terms of articulation. He looks pretty good though. Silver paint on the front here is nice. A little bit of metallic blue there for the color timer. I will say I'm assuming these are... So this piece is probably molded in the light gray. So you can see like it has the red come down. I don't know if that's supposed to continue on. There's probably supposed to be some amount of paint there that they left off. This piece is then molded out of red plastic, and then we're back to the light gray here, and they just painted that little bit red. So I feel like, you know, they did a decent job. You can see that the red kind of stops there at the halfway point on the leg, which is kind of a bummer because there's really not much more they would have had to do. And I feel like that's it. I feel like that's really the only paint that doesn't... I mean, I'm sure this area here, you can see there's detail. That's probably silver or something like that. So I don't know exactly. Maybe this silver was supposed to continue all the way onto the back. I'm not sure. But I would say for the most part, he looks pretty cool. Decent little figure. And the mantle, it works all right. It's just, I don't know, I just feel like it doesn't quite fit well in either way. But again, looking at it straight on, that looks fine. I'm okay with that. I guess we'll go back over here now to Ultimate Shining Zero. I think this one's pretty cool. I think this works pretty successfully. You have the arm piece here, which just clips onto the wrist very simply. So that's really not too difficult to take on and off, which is nice. And then you have this armor here. Now, the way this works, it's pretty simple. It just clips into itself. But see, this one actually does. See how they have like a little channel there for the seam on the back? And that's kind of nice because it kind of loosely connects onto that seam there. And it doesn't like peg in or anything, but it has a spot for it to line it up. And so you can do that and kind of put that where that needs to go. And then you just take the other one and it just pegs in and kind of clamshells around him. And that's all you really need. I mean, just by having that little bit of that channel there for the seam on the back, it kind of lines it up, gives it a little bit of orientation, lets it sit right on the figure. I think that works well. It's simple, but it works. You have a nice little bit of metallic blue there, and then the color timer here as well. I believe this would also work on any Ultra Action figure. I'm going to test it again on Jack, who's been over here assisting. So again, if I line this up on the little seam there, I believe this should clip on with relative ease. Yeah, and there you go. Now he can use this as well. So this is kind of helpful because I know X had a time when he like teamed up with Zero and was able to use his armor. It doesn't sit as well on this one, but it still works. Now I don't have X handy. He's long since been packed away, but I think that's cool. If you wanted to take this armor and put it on X, it should theoretically work. I mean, if it doesn't sit the best, you know, that's possible, but it would at least work and be able to be clipped on the figure. So I think that's cool. I appreciate the fact that you can use some of these accessories with other figures that have been released previously. I do appreciate that. I'm going to move this armor stuff off to the way for now so we can take a look at the actual figure itself. I think it looks pretty good. The gold is really nice. The head sculpt is pretty good. I don't believe these things come off for him. Other versions of Zero have that. But I don't, unless does this unpeg all the way at the base of the, no. So I think that, but that's fine. I don't need it to. The other one does, and we'll get to that in a moment. But really nice silver paint. The blue for the eyes and the little dot here looks fantastic. All of this gold looks really sharp. Again, it stops at the halfway point. It looks like the forearms got the full treatment, which I appreciate. But they just that extra little bit. That's all I would have asked for. Just that extra little bit right there. But the gold still looks good. And then you have this kind of darker gray color. Again, you have the gold stopping here on the legs. It's really just, I mean, it's just that and just that. And then, of course, this little bit here. But there's no point in complaining about it. And this almost looks like there's a thigh swivel there, but you can see it's just the way that the two pieces of plastic are then pushed together. But yeah, he's got the same articulation as Zoffy. They all have the same articulation. But he looks good. I mean, honestly, I can't complain. I like the two tones of gray. I like the gold. You have the little bit of metallic blue to pop in the color scheme there. And then if we go ahead and pop this back on, I think this works pretty well. And I do appreciate the fact that it can be used with other figures. So it just, and it goes on and off pretty easily. Very simple to pop that on and off. And then this is just molded in light gray. There's no paint here. I do worry about this maybe chipping the gold on the wrist, but I feel like it's loose enough that it shouldn't be a problem, but we'll see over time. But yeah, I think the Ultimate Shining Zero set is pretty successful. Now we will move on to the Ultra Zero Mantle set. And the first thing I'm just going to get out of the way, these things fall off at the drop of a hat. So I appreciate that they come off so that he can, you know, pretend to throw them or wield them as melee weapons or whatever. But when I was trying to, I mean, I wish, because there's just kind of like a channel there and they just sit on top of these pieces, but they don't really snap in any way. It's just kind of friction and, you know, like they're actually staying on now a lot more. But when I was trying to put the mantle on, they were falling off like every 10 seconds. So they'll stay. I mean, they're not going to like fall off. Like the friction holds a little bit, but just normally trying to handle the figure, you know, if I try to move the head around or something, it's going to just come right off. So I'm just going to take them off and leave them off for the rest of the video because otherwise they're going to drive me mad. But I do appreciate they're there. I kind of wish it was the whole piece and there was just like maybe a tiny little peg on the bottom and it could just peg in, something like that. I just think that would have worked a little better. But I get what they're going for. So again, Mantle I believe is the same mold with the exception of like this little area here, but it connects in very much the same way. Because when you try to clip it around his neck, you know, if you want the collar all the way up, again, you're at the 45-degree angle. If you want it to kind of hang straight down, then you have to pull it back a little bit. But again, I think this one's a little bit more successful than the other one. And I do appreciate the silver paint. I think that looks really good. Zero has kind of a specific Mantle compared to everybody else. And maybe just because it's blue, I like it more. Because the blue is my favorite color. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. But again, looking at it straight on, looks fine. Looking at it from the back or from the side, looks a little weirder. But, you know, it's alright. Now, I don't believe that this is much different than, like, the normal Zero they did a while ago, with the exception of maybe the headpieces didn't come off of that one. But again, it's got all the same articulation, but the paint looks really nice. Down here stops at the halfway point, but up on the arms, they did do the silver everywhere that it needs to be, which I appreciate. He's got his little changer here on his arm. Again, this silver does not continue to the back. But overall, it's a good looking figure. And he does come with a couple of accessories. So he's got a staff, which is very similar to the one that Jack came with. Jack's just helping out with everybody today. But you can see the staff is pretty similar. It's not the same one, but it's a similar design. Kind of looks like an arrow, if I'm being honest. And he can hold that. You just pop it in the hand, just open up those fingers, pop it in, and then just close it up as tight as you can and hope that he decides to hold on to it. So there's that. We talked about these pieces that he takes off the top of his head. I guess he can either hold them as melee weapons or throw them or whatever, but he can hold them, which is nice. He's got this large bladed weapon, which can pop into his hand, and he holds on to pretty well. That's just molded in light gray. No paint applications, nothing super exciting there. But one thing that I thought was kind of cool, he does come with the Dimensionizer from the New Generation Stars special. Now, I wish there was like a little thing on the back so he could hold it. Because I don't think his hands are wide enough to actually hold this. So it's a neat accessory, but there's not really any way for him to do anything with it. I kind of wish it had like a little handle on the back, and so then he could hold it or something like that. But it's nice that they included it. There's nothing special to it. It's molded in gray with a little bit of blue paint there on the top. But I think it's a cool accessory. I like that it's included. I wish there was a way he could actually be posed with it or utilize it in any way, but his hands won't open wide enough to actually hold it because it's too thick. Well, maybe this side will. I don't know why this one won't. I don't want to break it. Anyway, this one opens up a little wider. Will he hold that? Kind of, but not really. Let's see. You got to really kind of tighten the grip. Okay. I mean, if you pose that and walk away and never bump the shelf, he could actually hold that. All right, cool. Well, there you go. That works. Wish fulfilled. So there we go. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like the accessory. I like that he can actually hold it now. I don't know. Maybe one hand is made to open a little further than the other. It almost looks like maybe it is. Or it might just be that there's some flashing there from probably where that popped out of a sprue. Although this one has a little bit too. The cut on the hand might be a little different to allow it to kind of sink in more. I don't know. In any case, he can hold it in the one hand. I appreciate that. I think that's cool. It's a cool little accessory. Let me put this mantle back on. These just don't clip on the best. There we go. Maybe I can do like a halfway so it doesn't stick out too much. Kind of a compromise. But yeah, they're three decent figures. If I had to rank them, I think Ultimate Shining Zero is probably the most successful just in terms of the armor attaching nicely and you know, on and off very easily. He has the wrist mounted weapon. I think the paint scheme looks great. The application of the paint is also very good. I'd have to give the second one to Zero, though, just because he comes with more accessories than Zoffy. But Zoffy's fine, too. I mean, you can use that mantle for any of the Ultra Brothers. I wish there was a way, like, if they're going to start doing mantles, give me a full set so that, you know, all the Ultra Brothers can have them, but I don't want to rebuy all those figures. So do you just do, like, a set of mantles, but then that won't sell? So I don't know. I don't know how you solve that problem, but it's nice, I guess, to at least have one of them. You can just pick your favorite of the Ultra Brothers and give them the mantle. Zero's mantle looks pretty cool. He comes with some nice accessories. I do really like the Ultra Dimensionizer. Or is it just Dimensionizer? In any case, the only thing about him is that these things pop off way too easily. But that's my only complaint really about him. Yeah, that's really it. I think they're fine. You know, I'm starting to kind of get away from the Ultra action figure line just because I've kind of navigated more towards the Choto line, because that's kind of in scale with the other stuff that I buy and has a little bit more articulation and is a little bit cheaper. But these figures are still perfectly good. I mean, they're a reasonable price. Now, these sets obviously would be more expensive than your average figure because they come with more stuff. But I still think they're somewhere in the 25 to 30 range. If I had to remember, it's been a while since I've bought them, but trying to remember what I paid for them, I think it was somewhere in the 25 to 30 range. And they have decent articulation. The line is definitely missing a few key points. Like, it should have a waist swivel, should have thigh swivels. I wish they would do something different with the hands, because I just don't like those hinged, you know, set of two-fingered hands that they just don't grab onto stuff that well. I would rather just have a molded gripping hand, or maybe hands I could interchange out. I don't know. But I mean, you can't really get like super closed fists with these anyway. So just give me a set of gripping hands and I'll live with it. I don't know. But yeah, it's not a perfect line, but it's a pretty fun line, and it's still continuing. I'm just probably not going to be continuing with it personally, so this will probably be my last review for these. I did see, I'm trying to think, I looked the other day, I think they're doing like a glitter Tiga or something. It also gets to the point where I forget which ones of these I have already, and I feel like they're starting to redo some things, and I don't really need like two versions of the same character in this line, so probably bowing out. I can't say that I'll never buy one again, because, I mean, when the new shows start, I might continue with just getting like the new show ones, because I'm 100% sure that those are new and not something I've had before. But I'm probably not going to be doing too many of like the older Ultraman series that they're kind of either redoing or finally bringing into the line. I might continue with the new series, because last year they did, I think, what, 2 Blazer figures, and that was it. Now, he didn't have a lot of form changes or anything, and I have no idea what the new show is going to have. But yeah, if it's something like that, where if it's like, you know, there's 2 for the new series and that's it, okay, I'd probably end up getting those just to have them. And because I've already invested a decent amount, like new stuff going forward in terms of new characters, but I'm probably not going to be getting too much of the retro stuff. So again, I could completely eat these words, but that's kind of how I'm feeling about it right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Which one of these 3 is your favorite? You know, did you enjoy the videos as I did them over time, or are you glad to kind of have me be wrapping them up and focusing on other things? Love to hear your opinions down below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.